With Jason V of the motherfucking Jasons. Got the American Slasher Machete Sniper here. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yo, absolutely. Thanks for asking me to come on. I was just sitting around my house doing nothing, so it's perfect timing.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. So my whole thing with this is I want to get interview artists and bands that because there's not many interviews for the underground scene so much. Yeah, so I thought I can just I'll just do it. So now here I am doing it.
Yeah, man. Fuck yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah. So the things I want to find out. Yeah, I want to find out things that I've read interviews with you and stuff online that you've done with the band over the years, but I wanted to start with the beginning. So maybe predate the Jasons, but how did I know you guys are really big into Ramones and Kiss. I know you have other influences too, but I know those are pretty prominent throughout your career. So what came first for you? Was Kiss the first band you ever heard, or what was the first band you ever got into?
Yeah, for me it was Kiss. It started I had heard music like Michael Jackson and just the stuff that you pick up being a kid, and then one year for Christmas, I was 8 years old. I had a way older, cooler older brother, the kind of dude that bought me my first Rambo knife and would rent me horror movies and shit. And for my 8th birthday, he gave me 3 records. He gave me Kiss Crazy Nights, Kiss Killers, and Hank Williams Jr. And cool. I remember, and he gave me a boombox. He gave me cassettes, ready to say records, but he gave me cassettes. And I remember sitting on my bed holding all 3, and I was looking at Kiss in makeup, looking at Kiss out of makeup, looking at Hank Williams. And I swear to God, I took that Hank Williams and I threw that shit under my bed, and I never listened to it. Never listened to it. Because at that moment I knew that I wanted something that had a look and that had an image. And so it really changed my life listening to Kiss, but also just going from that mindset of, what does your band sound like to what does your band look like? And that was real important for where I went with music after that. And then of course I found the Ramones later on, legitimately thought they were Mongoloid brothers, found out that they weren't. And honestly found the Ramones, liked them, but never connected that there was a genre of music out there where people emulated the Ramones to the most, precise amount of their abilities, until I heard bands like the Huntingtons, the Connie Dungs, the Queers, the Beatnik Termites. That's kind of what started me on the sort of journey towards getting involved in the Ramones core scene and stuff like that. So it was a long process, just of being in other bands. And then, the Jasons getting off the ground, that was a weird thing because there was a start and then a stop and a break for 5 years before we started the Jasons. So in another incarnation, we would have been the Jasons 5 years previous, but it didn't line up that way.
Yeah, because you guys started in 2014, right? Around?
I think 13? Officially 2013 was the when we posted our first photo, and then within a few months we had recorded our first record and stuff like that. Okay. So it was real quick. It was we came up, we decided to restart the band, this time with myself, Jason 3D. Before it was me and other people. That didn't work out. My fault, girl issue. You know how that goes. But my fault. But so then I always wanted to do the band ever since. And it was a project that I had come up with I never wanted to drop it, even though the people that I was involved in it with before, they weren't going to be involved, but it was my project that I had come up with. So I carried it around for like 5 years, and then I met Jason 3D, who is my absolute, fucking partner in music, my soulmate, my other half, my yin to my yang.
Right.
And we decided, like, let's do it right. And so that's when the real Jason started. If that other version had started, wouldn't have been the same thing, man. Like, we're talking like our drummer was wearing an Archie style, like Letterman sweater. And, there were still leather jackets involved. It was a whole different project, man, a whole different kind of vibe. It wasn't what it needed to be. And, it is what it is now.
Oh, wow, okay. So it wasn't even like horror punk, I mean, I guess it had to be, right?
Yeah, it was the same songs.
Mm-hmm.
So all the songs were the same, minus the drummer in the first incarnation had written two songs. And of course, when we split up, I did not, obviously didn't bring any of his songs forward.
Yeah.
I just took my own shit and went and did it. So it's the same exact stuff. And then when we went to record the actual record, I had written other songs again too. So, but I will say, I will always say, and me and this guy who was in Jason's originally, we've kind of like squashed our beef now, because time went by and stuff. But he wrote two really great songs, and I've always been sad that those didn't make it over because they were good songs, but it just wasn't not. It's not how it was going to happen at the time. So
yeah, well, that's how things are meant to be sometimes. But yeah, I can see like. Because I know there's a video on YouTube, which I will link down below. You and 3D ranked every Ramone, which I think is a fucking awesome video. And Kiss too. I forgot the channel name, but I'll link it down below. But it's really good. So you and 3D had like you said you guys had a strong connection, but he was totally about the Ramones core stuff too, I feel like, right?
So actually what happened was, I've never been like a kind of person that goes lightly on anything like that. If I have a big major character flaw and also something that helps me, it's like I can't just do like something halfway. So when I get into something, I go crazy. And so I was way down the rabbit hole of Ramones core and, other music too, but, Ramones core, living that Cliffy Huntington life in my leather jacket 24/7, no joke, and so I met 3D, who was not a Ramones fan, hadn't listened to him, but he was a huge fucking Kiss fan, and we connected on that level.
So it was Kiss. Okay.
And so he kind of he reminded me how important Kiss was to me, and I introduced him to the Ramones, and it was like, maybe a month or two, we realized that it was like, I've worked in a lot of different band situations, and it's very rare to find somebody who understands where you're coming from with regards to like the approach and the vision of the band. Mm-hmm. And I realized real early on that 3D, I didn't never had to worry like, oh no, like we're on the same wavelength. We know where we're going. So
yeah,
that's something I never had in music before. And he's got the design, the visual arts, and I've always been more of a songwriter and more of a like ideas person. He executes all the fucking tours, he books all the shows. So 50-50, it wouldn't work without me and 3D. That's just kind of how it goes,
right.
And you should get him on here, and talk to him too. I can set that up for you, actually.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, I was thinking like a couple months ago when I started this too. I could think like I could do all the Jasons. That'd be awesome because
you should. That would be fucking rad.
Yeah. So that's something that between you and 3D, you could tell right away. Even like watching maybe like a live show or something, and you guys are like the total. I mean, Hal and Hollywood are great too. I mean, but you guys are totally the ones that were like the helm of the whole thing, which is awesome. I always thought like the Jasons for me was like how do I say, like a fandom band for the fans. I don't know if that's like, because you guys put so much effort into it, and
and we're also, obviously, every Jason show is a fucking, worshiping Kiss, worshiping the Ramones and those things. And we always say in the Jasons, and it's true, is like people will be as big of a fan of your band as you let them be. So if you're a band that puts out like one T-shirt and a shitty burned CD, you're gonna have, half-assed fans. But if you go hard on it and you put a lot of work into your merch and you put a lot of work into your fucking growing your fan base, people become like, that's why there's a bunch of people out there running around with Jason's tattoos and stuff. It's because like we know as fans of things that people want to be big fucking fans of bands. Like bands don't let some bands are great, but they don't let you be a big enough fan because they just don't have anything for you to consume, and people want to like dive into that stuff. So.
Right. I didn't mean to track back, but I was going to ask, what made you decide to do play guitar though? Was that your mission from the beginning, like do the main singer and then rhythm guitarist, or?
Yeah. So really, it's like I always wanted to be a singer, and I was always writing songs. I probably would not have picked up a guitar, except when I started my first band. It was one of those scenarios where nobody wanted to be in my band. I couldn't find anybody because it's also a very visual thing. And so I went around going like, okay, if I'm going to have a band, I guess I have to play guitar. And then I bought a drum set, and then I bought a bass, and then I bought a PA. And I went and I just found people who didn't play but were willing, because I figured, well, like, people can learn an instrument. I just gotta have the instrument. So I picked up a guitar as with that sort of thing in mind. Never liked playing guitar, but I've kind of gotten there with like now, if as far as the Jasons goes, I will never not play guitar, because I mean it went from just doing it out of necessity to at this point, I mean we are endorsed by Kramer. Like, I mean, what a fucking weird thing to have happen when you don't even really want to fucking play guitar. But and I'm not a great guitarist. I'm a fucking Malcolm Young. I'm not an Angus Young. I'm a Malcolm Young. I don't need to be anything more than that. Like to play punk rock, you don't need an Angus, but we found an Angus.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I wanted to ask you too about the Kramer endorsement. I'm glad you brought that out because that's what made me want to buy a Kramer. Unfortunately, I fucked up and I bought it through the mail, and when it came in, I opened it up, and the headstock was snapped in half.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crushing. Oh, it's crushing.
Yeah. That's why I got for the Guitar Center. I told the guy, I'm like, you ever hear the Jasons? He's like, no. I'm like, look them up, and they usually all play Kramer. I'm like, it's fucking awesome. Yeah. But unfortunately, it snapped, so I went to Guitar Center, got a different one. But
what'd you end up with? What kind of Kramer?
Oh no, I told they like, we can order you another one. And I was like, I'll just look around here, and I didn't think I was gonna find anything, so I ended up getting a Fender, like the HH.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. Yeah.
Like the headstock was reversed, and it has like a whammy bar on it. So it's like a metal. It's almost like the Fender version of a Kramer, I guess you could say. I don't know, but
yeah. So it's like a super Strat.
Yeah. It's like Fender HH. I looked at it. I was like, I've never seen this before, but I'm like, gonna start playing it. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, this is.
And for me, man, like Kramer. The only reason I gravitated towards Kramer, let me see if I can show you, is literally the only reason that I gravitated toward Kramer was because of this big banana hockey stick headstock. Yeah. And like, I'm not a gear person, so like, I don't give a shit about the wood, I don't give a shit about the pickups, but a big dick-shaped banana headstock, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So that's how I found Kramer. What looks the most fucking phallic,
Yeah, that definitely like fits. That's so cool. Yeah, maybe someday I'll get one. But yeah, that's really cool. Congratulations to you guys on that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, again, we're not under any sort of delusions that our magical great musicianship got us here. I mean, I certainly don't, think we're a shitty band most of the time. Sometimes we are, but like, we also know that it's our fucking shtick and our gimmick that got us here, and we're proud of that. You know what I mean? It's like, we're probably more along the lines of, I want to say performers than musicians in some ways. But I think everything services sort of the show and the message and all that stuff. It's not really about nobody's exercising our demons up here, getting our long lost deep dark secrets out. We're singing songs about fucking robots and stuff like that. But I think I don't know. I think we're proud of the fact that we got endorsed by Kramer and we're not like Yngwie Malmsteen. It's like that's a victory for gimmick bands everywhere.
Yeah, right, absolutely. So I think for Ramones core and all that, it's definitely a deep rabbit hole to get into. That's how I learned how to play guitar, was Ramones core bands and everything. So was that your influence on learning how to play guitar? Because was that what you were going for, right? In the beginning?
Yeah, a little bit. Sort of, like a lot of people do, you hear the Ramones and you're like, oh, I can play that. I was listening to a lot of like heavy metal and death metal and all that stuff. I couldn't play that, but
Me neither.
honestly, crazy enough, I saw a documentary called Hype about the grunge movement. And I am not a grunge fan. I fucking hate it. It ruined heavy metal for a while, but there's a band on there called Some Velvet Sidewalk, and I was watching them, and they're the shittiest band I ever saw, but I watched the crowd, and the crowd was going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I can at least do that. And then, of course, that led to, if you unplug one speaker and listen to the first Ramones record, you've got bass, drums, and vocals and an open guitar track because it's panned left and right. So I kind of learned by playing along to the first Ramones record, like so many other people have. I mean, that's like a well-known, like it should be in the book of punk rock. You just get that record and you unplug one speaker,
And it's amazing how that came out like 40-some years ago, and it's still like to this day, even for me and a bunch of other kids, like that's how they learned.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people to play guitar or whatever. I'm like, just listen to the Ramones or watch a YouTube video of a Ramones set and just look where Johnny's hands are.
Yeah.
And because I don't know how to read music. I don't know do you know how to read?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know how to read music. I don't know the names of the notes that I'm playing.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Now if I try to go like E, F, G, A, B, C, D, I can sit there and count it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never, been trained or anything. And like, I play by ear anyway. So like if I'm, I just played a show on guitar with the Huntingtons a while back, like a fill-in gig. And, I learned by just listening and playing. But, when we were practicing, they would be like, oh, it's just an A. And I'm like, yo, just play it because I don't know what.
Yeah, that's I was gonna ask you when you that Huntington show. It's cool that if that's how it was difficult to jam with them. Yeah, cool.
It wasn't. No, I mean, most of the songs they gave me like far enough in advance. They knew Josh wasn't going to be able to make that show, and gave me far enough in advance. And I mean, I had listened to so many of those songs over and over again. The one problem I did have, though, I'm listening to it, that song Too Old to Care. Mm-hmm. And I messaged Cliffy and I was like, yo, what the fuck are you playing here? Because it sounds like this, but it also sounds like this. And he goes, it's just a standard cowboy G chord, my man. And I was like, I'm so fucking disappointed in you, Cliffy Huntington. You making me play the goddamn G chord. So then I had to go learn a G chord so I could play the G chord. And I did. And I never thought I would go to my grave. I thought I'd be on my deathbed like, well, at least I didn't learn any goddamn chords. But no, I have no G now. So, I had to learn that. But other than that, it was fine. I mean, I knew most of the songs anyways. I'm sure I fucked up like, 20% of their whole set. But, hey, they got, in return, they got the kind of energy that, only Jason V can bring to a situation.
Yeah, absolutely. But with the G chord, are you going to use that now? Are you going to bring that G chord into the Jasons, maybe?
No, I'll never, ever use that G chord again. I want to just pretend like it never happened. It's like what happens in Huntington stays in Huntington's,
right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing with chords. I know where to put my fingers and play them, but yeah. I mean, I guess I can tell you what a G is and a C and a D and a, but I don't know where to use them. But yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. That just goes to show that like you don't need training to do it to start a band or be in a
Yeah.
band. It's very cool. Um,
No, and I mean, like, um, certainly, like, our goal has always been to progress.
mhm.
And, like, if you listen to our first record and then you listen to Blood in the Streets, big progression there. And that just comes from playing. And, when you've already written however many songs, I think we're up to like 80 songs or something at this point. I don't know, just in the Jasons, like, you kind of force yourself to have to do something different. And, I'm a big, like I said, I listen to heavy metal and I'm way more comfortable now playing riffs and playing a lot of different things, so that eventually gets incorporated in. There's just not too many scenarios in the kind of music we're playing where you need to pull out a big full G chord. Now, and maybe at some point it may end up in there, but for us it's like, we're still pushing our music in a more complex direction, but within the bounds of, like, what we are and what we're not.
Right. I think that's what separates you a lot too from Ramones core bands too in the scene is that what you just said, the progression and everything. I don't know if you heard, I think I remember hear you say like the next Jason's record you had more of a metal influence maybe you
Yeah,
want to do
big time.
or
So the
thrash.
past record, Blood in the Streets, we were going for Kiss Revenge,
Mm-hmm.
but that was more with our image. Purposefully, like, as soon as felt like we had, like, kind of done our rounds in Ramones core, like, okay, we made Get Fucked, which was like, that was a great Ramones core record.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well, now we don't want to repeat that, so let's bring in some other influences. We
Right.
did that a little bit on Blood in the Streets, but on our next record, which is called Saint and Cells,
Okay.
it's going to be, it's a lot more influenced by Wasp and Accept. Now, it's not going to be a fucking, complete transition. There's still down picking, there's still all the same shit, but we're intentionally bringing in, like, for the first time ever for me writing a song, I there's a part in one of our songs, where I just hold the power chord open and just hold it while I'm singing, which is a total Blackie Lawless from Wasp thing.
Uh-huh.
I never would have thought that I would do that, because usually it's just down pick, down pick, down pick.
Right.
But for that one, like, so we're incorporating shit like that in a little bit more to kind
Awesome.
of bring, just, like, people don't realize it, but the Ramones did that too. Like, look at those, like, records like Brain Drain and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So Halfway to Sanity, all that stuff.
Yeah, the Richie Ramone ones are, which I think you might have said they're some of your favorites too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Animal Boy specifically. Yeah,
yeah, totally, yeah, and you don't hear many people like say that too, so that's really cool.
yeah.
Because I remember, I know people were like, oh, yeah, halfway to sanity and stuff, and I'm like, no, they would like disregard it as a Ramones album. I was like, but I'm like, Richie's my favorite
Mine too.
drummer.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and
I
I
mean,
don't think I don't think you have to, like, people get so attached to that stuff, and I think that's the biggest problem. Is, like, there are some bands, like, I'm going to use, like, let's use a band like the Queers, right? Okay, so I still think the Queers I think they're an incredible band. Obviously, we just split with them, all that stuff. But
hmm
I heard a lot of people say this, and Joe doesn't need to evolve that sound. He's a fucking,
yeah.
he created the sound, all that stuff. But with that last Queers record, I heard a lot of people say, I didn't even listen to it, because when you get the Queers, you're gonna get what you get. You're gonna get the Queers. It's gonna sound like the Queers.
Oh, saves the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so for me, it was like, well, we can't afford to do that. We have to be able to have people want to hear our new record. Joe Queer, he's going to live off of, going on tour, and people are going to buy the record. But for us, we have to evolve it, because we're not fucking godfathers of this genre. We're
right.
not just like that.
I think you guys fit in. I think you guys, landed like fit in very, very well with it though. All that because
Yeah.
I'll play love songs for the retarded, and then I'll put on like Blood in the Streets or Get Fucked right afterwards, and
Yeah.
it fits all well so well. But I know I'm getting something different though when I put Blood in the Streets on. But it's kind of like I'm really excited for you now, by the way. But no, well, I always was. But it's kind of like the Huntingtons last record. Like you could say it could be a ramonescore album, or you could say it's a pop punk album, but it's got the twin guitars in it and all that. If you heard
Yeah.
it, Stella Sapid, I can't, I'm probably gonna butcher it, but
Yeah, Stella Sapiente.
yeah, Sapid,
That's exactly what I wanted out of a Lillingtons record. I think that
mm-hmm.
record's a fucking masterpiece record.
That blew me
I
away.
think the reason people hated it though is because with the Lillingtons, they disappeared for 10 years and evolved,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody got to hear the middle point of that progression. I think if they had made a record 5 years in and then came out with Stella, it would have had more of like sort of what I like to call, like on a dick, an easy start tip. Like
Yeah.
in the case of Stella Sapiente though, it just got jammed in there. They fucked themselves over by releasing that 3-song EP, which when that came out, that whatever that was called, Project 313.
Rubber rims on it. Yeah, I remember that song.
That came out, and I was incredibly disappointed because I thought, well, fuck, this sounds like Bottle Rocket, and I don't want another Bottle Rocket. I want the evolution because the Lillingtons is a band. They started as a cookie cutter band. They evolved the sound into the Cold War paranoia, and you can listen to a million bands right now that are ripping that style off in a good way. Covert Flops, Manorovs, Volkov, fucking Zoonoids, all those bands, 100% Lillingtons worship. Lillingtons evolved the genre.
Mm-hmm.
And then this last record evolved the genre, but people weren't ready because they never saw the progression. So with the Jasons, we're making sure that we don't just fucking jam a new progression up somebody's ass. It's like
Slow.
It's going to be slowly, so if you go back and listen to Red-Blooded American Punk Rock on our last record, that is an indicator of what you're going to get on Saint and Cells.
That's great you do that. That's why I was like, my first interview I did on here, he lives in California, it's Monty. Throughout his music, or everything that he did musically, all his projects, there always was a little hint of what's to come next. And I feel like that's really important, and yeah, I totally hear that when I listen to you guys too, so that's really cool. I totally agree with the Lillingtons. That was this kind of like 10-year gap, and then all of a sudden I could get why people would be turned off by it, but I think it's very great with that.
I agree. I love that record. I think Cody Templeman is the best guitar riff writer. He's the best guitar hook writer. He's got the best voice. I think he is like, it's crazy because in Bottle Rocket, he's just one of the singers, but it's almost like his secret identity is that he's an innovator and he's the best thing that is going in pop punk in this genre right now. Like, he's very unassuming. He has no ego. But that guy is like, he's one of the most important musicians in this entire genre. And anybody, like I said, anybody that doesn't agree with me, look at the new wave of bands that are all singing about fucking Cold War shit, that are all putting those leads, Proton Packs, Black Russians. There's a million of them. None of those great bands would exist, Jason's included, to some degree, without Cody Lillington's influence. And it's, I think it's amazing. That's what tells you right there that, that's a legendary band. That's a legendary musician, because he evolved the scene. He really did.
Is that going to be one of your major influences for the next album? Or would it be?
Not so much. Not the lyrics on this one. I'd say they were definitely an influence on Get Fucked.
Yeah.
But we're not really drawing a whole lot in that realm. I feel like their metal approach was a little bit more on the I know Cody's a big fan of black metal and extreme metal, and so you hear that in his music. I'm also a huge fan of that stuff, but ours is pointing a little bit more towards just to go along with the concept. It's like a little bit, I don't want to say hair metal because that has a connotation, but 80s heavy metal, like Skid Row's second record, and like I said, Wasp, except but without the like butt rock element. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's a video of you guys. You went to a record store, and there's one metal band you picked up. I was trying to think about it all day. I was gonna ask you.
Is it Striper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Well, first I gotta say thanks for picking that up because that made me like listen to them. I listened to was it Soldier for Hot or
Soldiers Under Command.
Soldier of the Command? Yeah, sorry. I listened to that
Yeah.
album like back and forth for a while. So that was really cool,
Yeah.
and that opened the door for me a lot too for other bands around that circuit. But yeah,
Yeah, man.
I get the butt rock thing you mean, but with the other stuff, so that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's a whole scene of bands that play like what you would call kind of more like a rock and roll, like bands like the Biters or bands like, but to me, like those bands, for lack of a better term, and I don't mean to offend the Biters, but I can say it because I'm into Jason's and nobody takes me seriously. It's a little like, it's a little too just fucking like, it's a little too it's a little too puss for me. Puss is the term I'm going to use. I just don't like it's a little too much on the side of like shaking my ass, buck cherry shit. And I don't want that. I want, like I said, I look at a band like Wasp,
Hmm.
and Blackie Lawless is ugly, and he's got his ass cheeks hanging out, and he's not trying to look sexy. He's trying to look scary, and like there's just a different approach, you know? So like I think a lot of bands that do that thing, they kind of go that route, hang on a little bit too much to the sort of the poisonish side. That's not where we're going, and it's still going to be down picked, and it's still going to be very Ramonesy, but the elements of that, and we're going to play around with a lot of themes, um, just within that genre. So
Okay, cool, awesome. Um, is now you guys just put out the Jarvis House EP, which I
yeah,
haven't checked Mom's Basement Records, which I'll link down below if there's anything left, and the Bandcamp as well. You guys have it on. Um, I know you guys just put that out. That was a collection of songs um, from last year, I think, or you said, or was it this year?
So what happened
The
was when
two
we
songs.
recorded Blood in the Streets,
Mm-hmm.
Blood in the Streets, we had two songs that had a different vibe. Both happened to be about the Jarvis house. And so we decided we were going to save those for later. We were going to put it out ourselves because we were very anti-label for a while. And then we met
Mm-hmm.
John from Mom's Basement. He changed our point of view by treating us like a label should,
Mm-hmm.
and not trying to interfere with like what we do, but just supporting that and being cool. And like we have a great relationship with him. So and during pandemic, because we can't tour, we didn't have the ability to put that record out, and he was willing to step up with the money and put his money into the band to get the record out. And so that's why we developed that relationship with him. He showed up like a label should, with money, willing to like, hey, I'm gonna get your record. It's his job to pay for the record. It's our job to make a record that doesn't suck. The partnership works. And so it's two songs that we did in Blood in the Streets, and then we re-recorded two songs from Get Fucked that we just felt like, could use an update, and songs that, are generally in our set list. So
Yeah, yeah, American Slasher, and that's your favorite Jason song, right? I think you said.
that's my favorite song from that record.
Yeah,
My favorite Jason song is probably still Red Blooded American Punk Rock, I think.
yeah,
And probably only because it's the one that resembles what we're doing next the most. And I think you should always, if the shit that you're doing next isn't your favorite shit, then you shouldn't put it out. Like
yeah.
so. But yeah, so that like American Slasher, I felt like should have been like the single, quote unquote, off of the Get Fucked. Of course, it ended up being Asshole because everybody's angry and they relate to that. But so yeah, we just wanted to re-record it. Some things on that record didn't come out how we wanted or how I wanted, and I felt like we kind of got to fix it, re-record it
Yeah,
without erasing.
yeah, absolutely. I think it was a nice polish. Came
Yeah.
out really great. I didn't check how many variants are left of the 7 inch, but I know I grabbed the Tommy Jarvis blue T-shirt.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think there's a couple of those left and black. I think that's all that's left. Everything else I think is sold out. But
okay.
we do have stuff that we're bringing to live shows. We have our own copies, but
Hmm.
as far as online, it's all sold out. I think luckily and gratefully, I think we sold out of almost all the variants on like day one within like 4 hours. Some of
Yeah.
them were gone within the hour. So That's cool. And we have a group of people that follow the band that are like diehard people that go in there and buy one of everything, and like that's helped us to a huge degree because when we're dealing with the label, like we can be confident and be like, "Yo, you're gonna make your money back on day one," and and he did. That's what
Well,
John
that's
had
good.
shared that with me. He was like, "Yo, we recouped in like 4 hours, so we're good." So it's like being able to like push, because when you're developing a relationship with a record label, they're putting their money up and you want to cut costs, not cut costs, but you don't want to fucking have a bunch of money going out and then not make a return. But when
Right.
you have people come out like they do, you can kind of be like, yo, let's do a little bit more. Yo, let's do a different variant. And so it was
That's
cool that people came out for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I fucked up. I bought it on Friday. Well, I didn't fuck up. On the 17th. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think. And then I went to go see you guys on the 18th, and I was like, oh shit, I could have just bought one then, but I didn't even think, but I didn't put two and two together. Like, but I ended up getting some other stuff like that in the back here now hung up.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I know. I saw that. It's amazing.
Yep, we got the remotes there and all that misfits, but yeah, yeah. You mentioned about like, finding Mom's basement, but which I think is awesome. I'm glad you guys did because I remember like a couple years ago, you guys were like it was strictly Bandcamp and vinyl,
Yeah.
and our
Yeah.
I don't know if you didn't do cassette, did you guys?
We did cassette
Yeah. Okay.
for yeah, we were really anti streaming for a while. We compromised with Bandcamp and we
Hmm.
just didn't want to. I don't know, man. We're fans. You can see in my background here, I'm a fan of physical media and a record collector and
Hmm.
stuff. And we wanted to make it a little bit like something you had to dig for just a little bit. But I've said this a lot of times. I heard went and I saw Chuck D, and Chuck D from Public Enemy. He said, if your shit's not on streaming media everywhere, like you're fucking up. Like this is how people find your band. This is how people book your band. Like
Yeah.
if I say, hey, do you want to book the Jasons and somebody's never heard of us, and they say, send me a link, and you're like, well, you got to buy a record, or let me send you a CD. You're not, they're not going
Hmm.
to go to that effort to do it. So
Right.
um, we compromised, and it was the best thing for us, 100%. If you're out there and you're in a band and you're not on fucking Bandcamp, stop fucking around, or you're not on streaming. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't make money. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally true. We all know that. But the difference is, at least with us, people will fucking buy every variant of the record and then go listen to us on streaming in their car.
You're
So I
right.
don't think I don't think it crosses over.
Yeah, yeah, because like yeah, compared to like the '90s and stuff, like it would be like, oh yeah, send me a tape or something, and then we'll book them or
Yeah,
to listen to them. But yeah, because like if I tell people like, hey, I'm seeing the Jasons this Saturday, and they're like, oh, who's that? And it takes 1 second, they just type it in on Spotify, boom. But yeah,
exactly.
but I think the best thing though for you guys doing this the vinyl and Bandcamp only, that really I think because that's how I found you guys was with Bandcamp
Yeah.
because I think that really rooted your foundation. I guess you could say like the hardcore Jason's fans, because
Yeah.
like those are the people I like love that like the physicalness of it. But no, it's good. You guys evolved, I think, perfectly. I think it was. I think I don't like you don't. I don't think you don't regret starting out like that, right?
No, definitely not. I think starting out like that in the beginning, what was cool is like you said, it kind of rooted like a pretty deep fan base of like Bandcamp and physical media collectors.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of people back in the day who wanted to show their friends and would order CDs and have us send them to other people. And like
Uh,
then what we've seen that's been cool, man, all the time people come up like whenever we make another step in the direction of making more progress, like when we did the split with the queers, we had a lot of messages that were like, yo, I've been listening to you guys since Bandcamp. I'm really proud of you guys. We still get that from a lot of people, and I think it's because like some people have ownership in the Jasons in that like they were pushing it when it wasn't easily to find, and so when we make a good, when we make progress, they feel like they were part of it, and they were obviously, like all those people that bought their friends CDs and stuff. So like, um, I think it's like a victory for the Jasons, for those old school people. Like they see that as a victory because they've been pushing it, and it is. It's a victory for everybody, you know.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I forgot to mention too, the Jarvis House EP is also on streaming.
Yeah, yeah.
It came out on the 18th officially streaming. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Oh, no
um,
worries.
yeah, that's great. So for since we're coming to the close of 2021, the shows are back for the most part. Do you guys think you'll do a tour though, maybe next year or?
Yeah, definitely. We already basically signed the fucking deal to do a tour next year. It hasn't been announced.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but I know that I've already heard from venues who are like, "Yo, we just booked that tour," and it's definitely going to be one of those things where it's like people are going to be going like, "Yo, proud of you guys," because for us, it's like it's the tour we always wanted with three bands that we always wanted, and it's the three bands in the scene that for me are the bands that we fit in the best with.
Awesome.
It's some old school guys who don't need to take the Jasons out at all, but they're going to do it because they contacted us, and
That's great.
so yeah, man, I wish I could say it because
That's
I'm
all
so
right.
excited,
Yeah,
but
no, I can't wait to hear it.
yeah, I think I
Congratulations.
told you personally. I don't remember. If not, I'll tell you after. But yes.
Okay. I, awesome. Um, that's cool. I think my my coworker I brought to the show actually yesterday. I brought another coworker and a friend to the show. But he told me he goes, "Hey, there's a bar 13 in Delaware." And he goes
Yeah.
there all the time. His friends, he has a thrash metal band he's friends with. They play there, Eyes of the Living. They're called on
Yeah.
and off there. You guys are playing there too, the Friday the 13th, but right?
Yeah, I know I'm not real good with the booking side, but we definitely we've played there and I know I
Oh,
wonder if
great,
that's
pretty
the
neat.
show. Yeah, I wonder if that is the show, the only Friday the 13th next year. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that would be the show.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, because my friend came up to me at work. He's like, "Yo, Jason's are playing Friday the 13th at Bar 13," because like he's been trying to get me to go to Bar 13 for a bit now. Well, we were gonna
yeah.
go before the pandemic started, but yeah,
Did they announce the other bands that day?
I had to ask him. I didn't look it up because I'm not. I was like, I just know you guys are playing Friday the 13th.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, that's my professionalism.
No, I'm not. I'm
Joe.
like that too. I never know where we're playing. I was
Yeah,
just wondering if that was going to be on the tour. Then I could. Then you might be able to find out who's on the tour. I don't know if they've even announced it yet. I don't pay attention to anything. I'm terrible about that.
yeah. I think it was just a one-off thing in the beginning of the year.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. um, yeah, it's great. So you have the new album coming out, Sane Cells. I won't ask when to I mean, I guess next year, right? I guess I will ask.
Yeah, with the way vinyl pressing is right now,
Yeah.
if we recorded it right now, it wouldn't be ready by our tour in June. So it's like we're not in any hurry right now to get it done since we just put out the last
Mm-hmm.
record. We're gonna reissue Get Fucked next year. So
Okay.
like I don't know. We're taking our time a little bit, I guess, because we know that it's like it's not going to be out for tour, so might as well not fucking bust our asses to
Yeah.
go get it. You know.
Is the Get Fucked reissue, is that gonna be on Mom's Basement or are you guys gonna reissue yourselves?
Yeah, it'll be on Mom's Basement.
Alright,
As
cool.
far as we're concerned, I think we're probably just going to be a Mom's Basement Records thing from here on out. Now I know, and I can almost say for certain that even our new record will be on Mom's Basement. There are times though, like we have real specific kind of expensive-ish things that we want to do with the record, like specific like packaging. And so I always got to approach John and kind of be like, hey man, look, you always like, I know this may be more expensive than something that's going to be profitable for your label, but this is what we want to do and blah, blah, blah. And like, and because my thing is like, I want the packaging to be better than any other Mom's Basement release packaging because we need to have the constant one-upsmanship, and they did that last Suck record packaging was really good, so we have to
Mm-hmm.
do better than that. And then that'll set that ball in motion, and then they'll have to do a better one, you know. So pretty soon, John from Mom's Basement is just going to be paying like $30 per record and making $0 because we just keep one upping it. But no, but so yeah, that's the only thing that would hold it up. And again, we have such a good relationship with that guy and that label that
That's
I don't
awesome.
think that yeah.
You guys are a good company. That's a really good roster on that record. I think that's like my favorite record label the past like while now. Just
Yeah, man. He seems he's pretty picky about bands that he works with, and I like you know, really tries to have like a good like quality standard there and stuff. And strange pairing with us in some ways because you know I think we're technically the only gimmicky kind of band on the label, but I think being on that label also gives the providence that at our core, you know, we are a Ramones core band. You know, I'm not on here trying to pretend to you that I go out and kill girls in the forest every night because it's really like, you know, I'm not Jason Voorhees. I'm Jason V. It's a totally different person.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, people get understand that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's
I always said like we're not a horror punk band that plays Ramones music. We're a Ramones core band that wears hockey masks, basically. And that's for us the only separation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when I first started listening to you guys, I used to like I apologize, I would lump you in with the horror punk, but then I'm like,
Sure.
this is beyond, this is better than horror punk. Not
Yeah,
to talk crap
we,
on
you
horror
know,
punk, but
no, we definitely got lumped in there and stuff, and um, we're fine with you know people in the horror punk scene, you know, liking the Jason stuff. That's cool too. But yeah, I agree. That's a scene that we never felt much of a kinship with, and I've spent a lot of time in that scene in other bands too, and
right.
never felt a kinship there either.
Yeah.
So, but it's you know we're much more comfortable. Like we always said, like we want to set our sights on playing with bands like the Queers and Dickies and stuff like that. We don't want to set our sights on playing with the Misfits. We're not interested in that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's why I saw you guys the first time was with the Dickies and the Queers, so that was a really good show.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything you want to add? Anything else?
Not that I can think of other than check out our Jason's Christmas special contribution that we did to the Mom's Basement Christmas special. The assignment was send in some acoustic or full band songs so that people can enjoy it. And instead, we filmed a 20-minute long dick joke. We're real proud of that. You know, we have a web store. We're kind of running it a little differently than we used to. It's not always open now. What we're doing is like dropping batches.
Okay.
So follow us on, you know, Instagram and all that stuff. That's where I hang out the most. Jason fucking V Instagram. I do a lot of shit on there. And then, you know, we got Facebook and all that other stuff. The Jason's Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff.
Yep. Hey, I'll link that down below so you guys can click the link. Take the links, multiple. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely.
And it was great to have you on, man. I'll have to have you on for another part because there's a lot more I could go into, but I don't want to. You know, like you said this on. Oh yeah, you know what? Really quick, you do. We also do a Sunday morning shit show. It's usually on Sundays at noon, right?
Yeah, Sunday morning shit show, 12:05 on my Instagram page. It's the show that started during the pandemic out of boredom, and it's turned into a weird little community and a morning show and guests. And now we're doing the news, myself and Jason Hell, but we also bring Hollywood, we bring 3D, we bring everybody on, and yeah, it's turned into a thing, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I wanted to mention that, but luckily it came back to me before I ended it. But yeah, it's super fun, and yeah, I made some friends from that too, like Pumpkin Guts and Mike, really good, Dak, all them guys. But yeah, tune into that. It's always fun. You give Jason update news and all that, and it's always a good time. So yeah, man. Jason V, thank you so much for being on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I'll see you on the camp battlefield.